Welcome again to NR Recaps. Nowadays I can explain drama romance film closer in the year 2004. Earlier than starting the movie, make sure to subscribe and like this video. The movie starts off evolved with a lovely female named Alice and a man named Dan. They have a look at every other when they're strolling at the street crossing in London. They are strolling within the contrary path with a crowd when abruptly Alice looks at Dan and smiles. At the equal time he looks at her and smiles back. While crossing the road, Alice seems at the wrong side due to the fact she's from the USA and she or he is now in London. It is why she's no longer used to London's road guidelines. Earlier than Dan could forestall her at that time, a car hits her. Dan went close to her. She smiles at him and says hi, a stranger. After that he is taking her to the health facility wherein she is handled and discharged. They both begin speak me at the health facility and Dan tells her that he is an unsuccessful writer. That's why he writes an obituary column for a newspaper. While they come out of the sanatorium, Dan begins going to his office and Alice additionally walks with him on the manor. They stop at to Portman Park, where 20 years in the past he got here with his father after his mom died. After that he is set to head in his office. He requested her approximately her call. She tells him that her name is Alice Iris. After that they get right into a relationship. After 365 days Dan writes a singular about Alice's life. For publishing the novel he needs some snapshots, and that's why he went to a studio where he met an American photographer named Anna. He starts off evolved flirting with Anna and after some time they start kissing. After that he tells her that he is already in a relationship with Alice and she replied that she become also married. However, she lives one at a time from his husband. At that moment Alice comes into the studio and she goes to apply the restroom. When Dan is alone with Anna he tries to convince Anna to have an affair, and after a while Alice comes back. At that second Alice tells Anna she desires to take a portrait of herself. Anna agrees to take her pictures and Dan goes from there. Even as on the image shoot, Alice told Anna that she heard their communique and Alice receives so unhappy. This is why she started crying. 1 year has passed by. At some point, even as chatting on an grown-up internet site, Dan meets a person in a talk room. His call is Larry and he is a dermatologist. In the meantime Anna continues to be in Dan's mind and that is why he pretends to be Anna to talk to Larry. They both speak about getting intimate and on the time Dan asks him to meet, Dan tells Larry to satisfy in an aquarium where Anna goes often. Tomorrow Larry goes to the aquarium and by way of risk sees Anna. She's sitting alone. It's why he begins speak me to her and after some time he reveals out that he was being pranked with the aid of someone. She tells him that a person else changed into pretending to be Anna and was speaking to him, and at the time Anna found out that the man who turned into pretending to be her turned into Dan. After that Larry and Anna begin spending time and after a few time begin a dating. After 4 months in Anna's photograph exhibition Larry meets Alice. Due to the fact her image is in the exhibition, Anna has already advised Larry approximately Alice and Dan, and that's why Larry recognizes her. After the exhibition Dan tries again to convince Anna to have an affair and this time she is of the same opinion. They each cheat on their associate for 12 months and at that time Larry and Anna get married. After a while Anna and Dan confess to Larry and Alice approximately their affair, and because of that their relationship is finished. Because of the heartbreak Alice becomes a stripper and someday at the membership Larry meets Alice. She is working there with a folk called John Jones. Larry attempts to talk to her and asks her for her actual name. He attempts hard but she does not tell him her real name and intimate and he or she refuses him. The following day Anna meets Larry in a restaurant and he or she asked him to signal the divorce papers. Larry begins bargaining along with her and tells her that if she receives intimate with him one final time he's going to join up to the divorce paper and go away. Her Anna has no option, so she is of the same opinion to this provide. Later in the day Dan met Anna in the opera house where it tells him that in the and Larry has signed the divorce papers. At that time one way or the other Dan reveals out that something had occurred between Anna and Larry. She tries to inform him that she did this simply to make him signal the papers and now Larry will depart her by myself. However Dan doesn't consider her. He is going to confront Larry and needs to speak about Anna. Larry tells him that he never signed the divorce paper and he tells him to move lower back to Alice. Dan would not realize in which Alice is right now and Larry tells him approximately Alice. At the same time as in conversation Larry tells him that nothing took place between him and Alice, and while Dan is approximately to go away Larry tells him that he were given intimate with Alice. Later Dan is going lower back to Alice and she or he agrees to come again into a dating with him. After that they visit the USA and have a good time in a resort room. They recollect the time approximately 4 years in the past. At the same day of time they meet For the first time they talk for a while, and inside the verbal exchange Dan talks approximately Larry. He asks Alice if something came about among them. Alice answered that not anything. Passed off after that. Dan is going to buy some cigarettes, and rather than cigarettes he buys a flower. At that second Alice tells him that she doesn't love him anymore and that many matters take place among her and Larry. Dan replies that he already knew. Larry advised him the whole thing and he has already forgiven him. Unexpectedly they begin arguments and Alice tells him that she does not want to stay with him anymore. Alice asks Dan to depart and Dan gets so angry that he slaps her. Ultimately Larry and Anna begin living together. On the other hand, Alice comes returned to the Big Apple by myself and we see her actual name on her passport, which is Rachel Jane Jones, and that is found out that she by no means advised her real name to Dan in her 4-year dating. However, she told Larry her real name. Inside the strip club later, Dan is by myself on the Portman Park. There he sees a memorial of a lady named Dallas. She had saved the lives of 3 kids even as sacrificing her lifestyles, and the final scene of the movie is Alice walking on the course by myself. Just like within the starting, she didn't tell her actual name Dan due to the fact she had come from New York to London to start a new life, due to the fact her beyond existence became now not suitable, and that's why she desired to live a new life with a new call. On this film they have proven us the complication of relationships and how heartbreaking people break from the inner and then begin doing matters they do not need to do, and the way a single affair can affect 4 lives, and the way someone by no means modifications even if they have got the entirety. With that, the movie ends here. Thanks for looking the video, like and subscribe for more. See you next time.